people have fond memories of seeing that Stone Cold, that one, the crazy one, the one that they never knew what was going to happen next. That's what they want to see out of me.
Stone Cold Stunner, I think, is the best finishing maneuver of all time. Quote me on it.
It became a part of pop culture.
The goal is, when you take the stunner, you want to take the best stunner better than anybody else has ever taken.
Right under the chin, not only knocks you out, damages your windpipe. Not only do you get beat, but then you get talked to and told what a complete piece of trash you are as well, because you're totally lying there helpless.
You gotta put the stunner! It was so simple. That was what was amazing about it. It didn't matter how big the guy was, how small the guy was. Boom, kick to the stomach, and then bam, Stone Cold turns around, drops him right on their head, and it's over.
When he give that kick and go forward,
whoa, it was a thing of beauty. As a guy who was hit with it, it was a thing of beauty. As a guy watching when Vince McMahon was given the stunner, that was a thing of beauty.
You can kiss my ass.
It was the first time that anyone ever laid hands on their boss.
He would have stunned the crowd if they'd let him.
A guy by the name of Michael P.S. Hayes came up with that move. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Before I came to WWE and was just kind of winding down in WCW, I wanted to come up with a new finish, something different. So I came up with this move, which is basically you plop down on your ass and drive your opponent's throat into your shoulder. If you'll go back, Jimmy Garvin came back and took my place one time because I turned on Johnny B. Bad and I had back surgery, so I couldn't do the match. And he used that maneuver then.
Whoa, a jawbreaker! Somebody better call an ambulance! Because he just experienced a 911! That's called the 911, huh? 911! The end of Johnny B. Bad!
You know, when Steve first came into WWE, they put him with the $1 Million Man.
I give you the Ringmaster!
And here he comes! The new $1 Million Champion!
Everybody's got a prize.
The Ringmaster!
I was like the one person on earth that really loved the Ringmaster, I think. I really dug him as the Ringmaster from the get-go, which is why I consider myself the biggest Steve Austin fan in the world. This guy's doomed. The Ringmaster, are you kidding me? I loved him. It seemed like it was 1 week. Like 1 week he was the Ringmaster, the next week he was Steve Austin. And then later on he was Stone Cold, like a few weeks later.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. I love him, McMahon.
The black vest started making an appearance, and that's just kind of how he transitioned into being called Stone Cold.
He was using Ted's finish, the $1 Million Dream. He really did not like using DiBiase's finish. And I don't think he thought the finish was bad. It just wasn't for him. It wasn't unique to his character. So I said, hey, I got this move. I can show you.
I was sitting there in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We were getting ready for a Monday Night Raw taping, and Michael comes up to me and he says, "Hey, kid, you got a minute?" I said, "Yeah." So Michael led me to the ring, and he picked up a couple of guys on the way, and he started explaining this move to me. He showed it. He executed the move on these guys that were in the ring with me, and he goes, "What do you think?" Well, immediately I knew it was a badass finisher, one of the best I'd ever seen. And I said, "Yeah, sounds good to me. That's what I'm going to use from now on." So Michael P.S. Hayes invented the Stone Cold Stunner. Thank you, Michael.
And then it became the best finisher in the business.
I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of Savio Vega. Look at the intensity on the face of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is ready. He's going to have to be. Here comes Savio Vega.
The first time he told me, he said, "Savio, I like to do this finishing move. I don't know, man. Do you take it?" I said, "Let's do it."
He's hammering away on his back. Can you imagine? No, wait a minute. Hey, right out maneuver by Stone. 1, 2, 1.
Was the beginning of what happened. Now when he put that 316 in the King of the Ring up.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
The people on that Monday went crazy. You know, the popular of Stone Cold Steve Austin went up big time.
This ain't no ballet class. And when the bell rings at Madison Square Garden, if you're thinking about dancing, you're gonna get your ass kicked, son.
The first time Steve took on Bret Hart at Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden, I just remember Steve's bald head popping up and down from the curtain all the way to the ring, and his attitude, demeanor, that's when he hit that stunner. I mean, it was like, yeah, that's my guy.
I remember, funny enough, thinking the first few times I saw him do it, but there was like no real snap to it. He would just kind of grab the head and then sit. And I remember not loving it. But then with time, he added the kick to it, and it became like really exciting.
That was totally Steve adding the kick. You know, probably the way I taught him to do it, he kind of morphed it around too to fit for him. Here's the cue. It was so interactive. The crowd felt a part of his matches and a part of his finish. Once that thing got going, I mean, the kick, stunners,
No, wait a minute.
It was the Monday Night Wars. It was Monday Night Raw versus Monday Nitro. Monday Nitro, they were doing some off-the-wall, crazy, fly-by-the-seat-of-their-pants stuff. They were kicking our ass. But I'll tell you what, Stone Cold was coming and everybody else was on my heels, but I was leading the charge on that gig.
What is the matter with you?
It was a very interesting time to see that on television.
Not being able to compete, they can understand that. But don't break the law.
Most people knew who I really was behind the scene. I really wasn't just an announcer or what have you, so I'd established a certain persona.
You got to work within the system. That's all you got to do.
Hell, I feel like Cool Hand Luke. I'll work within your stupid little system.
That's all these people ask.
I appreciate that.
They were poking me with the stick. I can't do this, I can't do that.
Care. And I also appreciate the fact that, hell, you can kiss my ass.
And the roof came off of that Madison Square Garden. The roof probably came off every single house that was watching Monday Night Raw that night. And it was something magical.
That was a great moment for me. To be able to just do that one bit of performance there and to be able to hear the roar of the crowd. And it was like, that's some good stuff. So it meant a great deal to me personally.
We pulled it off. He took it and he's laying there, he's doing that quivering thing with his eyes open like a crappie on a bass boat. It was the greatest thing in the world. Once you're stunned, Vince McMahon, you're in for the long haul.
Hell, if you'd like to see The Rock and Stone Cold drink a beer together, give me a hell yeah.
After like the TV program was over, like Raw, he'd go out there and drink a case of beer. He would have stunned the crowd if they'd let him.
All I'm out here to do, offer you a cold beer, drink one with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Boy, when Stone Cold offers you beer, don't take it. Because you know that some bitch is going to stun you. I kind of think it's one of those things where you just can't resist. Never planned anything out, whether I'm going to throw the cooler in there or how many beers I'm going to go through, who I'm going to share one with, who I'm going to spill one on.
He would really cut loose. There was no telling what he was going to do. He wasn't just straight up badass attitude. He was fun.
Man, there's one thing that I always look forward to, it's the beer bashes. That's why I love drinking beer.
You and The Rock, Coors Light. I'd like to have a beer with you too.
Have you ever taken a stunner?
No, I've never taken a stunner, but I damn sure will. Today, I'll take 10 of them. Let me know.
I had this idea in my head to start doing the stunner for a finish because it's the most iconic finisher of all time and nobody was doing it anymore. Why not the stunner? I was well aware of what it was, and it's almost, sacrilegious to do it, which is why I went to Steve and asked him if I could. And when I went to Steve, he and I already had a pretty good rapport. As soon as I opened my mouth and he knew where it was going, he was like, yes, look, go ahead and do it. Sounds great.
And as a fan, how cool was that?
Yeah, like moments like that just still blow me away. And, having the guy I looked up to the most give me his blessing to use his finishing move that he made famous beyond this industry was pretty wild, and it's still, once in a while, I still think about it and be like, I can't believe I get to do this, I'm always going to do it with the kick and the stunner, just like Steve used to do it, because he's who I asked permission to use it. It's his move. I still call it the stunner. I'm never going to call it something else. To me, I'm just going to keep trying to do right by it by using it as close as possible to how he used to do it.
Someday if I sit back and I got some time on my hands and I want to think about some of the accolades that I could talk about what I've done with the Freebirds and all that, teaching Steve the stunner, being a little part of his success, yeah, that's something you feel pretty good about and you can hang your career on. But make no mistake about it, Austin made his success, and then his main nemesis, the best heel character ever, Mr. McMahon. I mean, who doesn't want to beat up their boss?
So there's like different stunners that flash through my head, and when I try to figure out the most iconic one, the one on Scott Hall from WrestleMania, people still talk about. I remember he hit one on D'Lo Brown on a pickup truck.
It's almost like an honor, a rite of passage. His music would hit, and the people would know Stone Cold is coming to stun Double J. A lot of anticipation, and then the night he strutted after he did it. There's not a lot that I can do better than Steve in the ring, but I am positive I can strut better than Steve.
I tell you what, man, that damn Rock sold a stunner like a son of a bitch. Boy, when I look back at those important matches and I hit that stunner and he goes and he puts that extra energy into it and he flops off the rope, that guy ought to get an Academy Award for the way he was flopping all over the place selling those stunners.
I took the Stone Cold Stunner at WrestleMania. And the beer went everywhere, and it was an iconic scene.
Brilliant. What can you say? A perfect finishing maneuver that can be hit on any person at any time and knocks the life out of you, as I know. Truly, truly great superstar he was.
Stone Cold Steve Austin was an example of the guy who had everything. I don't want to say it fell into place because he put it in place. He was the perfect guy. He had the great persona. He had that great music. He had the great mannerisms. He had the great interviews. He had the ability to have great matches with just about anybody. And you say, okay, what's that one missing part? Finishing moves.